Hey guys, welcome to Trilogy Talk. Scott here, back in the studio. I got Derek Brookard. So we're gonna talk your ear off for a few minutes. Before I get started, I want to kind of just announce a few changes that I'm going to make to the podcast. So in the past, what we've done outside the interviews like we did with Isaiah and Ava, we've had a group of conversation or a group of topics that we've talked about, and it's made for one full episode, which typically have lasted about an hour. Well, as I've listened and learned a little bit about some of the podcasting, I've learned a lot of you don't have an attention span beyond about 20 minutes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to still do our weekly or regular sit-downs and whoever I have in the studio, whatever conversations we want, but I'm actually going to break those apart. So like today we're going to talk about a couple things, but you're going to see each video is going to be its own clip. So then that way, one, you can decide if you have any interest in it. You don't have to weed through the video to figure out if it's something you want to hear or you're interested in, but you also don't have to dedicate as much time to keep up with what we're talking about. If you have any comments or suggestions on that idea, feel free to let me know. You like it, you don't like it, or you have a different idea. Again, this is a learning experience for all of us still. We're still trying to figure it out, but ultimately we're here for you. So let me know what you think. Alright, so in this episode, we're going to actually talk about something that a lot of people don't know a lot about. And I just really want to create this documentation of what a pre-made in Sweden disc is. Derek, myself, you see it across a lot of the Facebook message boards. People are looking for pre-made in Sweden, and people don't know what pre-made in Sweden is, or even what it means. So that's what we're going to chat about a little bit today, is what is pre-made in Sweden, which discs you can find in pre-made in Sweden, and our best guess for now of why pre-made in Sweden exists to begin with. But first, how you doing, Derek?
Good.
So Derek, as always, is busy, and you've been getting out and playing all.
It's been cold, nasty cold, rainy.
And when it hasn't been cold, it's been super sloppy.
Right.
So I finally got, for those that haven't heard, I finally have 2 rounds in on 2019.
You're catching me.
It took a little while, a few weeks to get there. I did participate in the Marksman League, but all right, let's stay on topic at hand. Pre-made in Sweden, Derek. What do you know about pre-made in Sweden?
Well, it pretty much covers the first 7, 8 molds that Trilogy came out with. I think the change was made in like summer 2013. I think a lot of people don't understand what pre-made in Sweden is, and it's really just that. It's discs that came out before they said made in Sweden. On the back of the discs, it's going to say something like www.dynamicdiscs.com. After summer 2013, all the discs would then say www.dynamicdiscs.com, and below that they would say made in Sweden. Yep. Obviously, my best guess is this had something to do with import, bringing things into the country. They required them, put where they were made at. So like I said, it covers the very earliest of the first 8 runs, basically. Or 8 molds, I should say.
Yep. So from what we've been able to gather, the first 4 molds, which were the Judge, the Escape, the Trespass, the Fugitive.
Correct. And
then after that came the Suspect, the Renegade, the Truth, and then we believe probably with the last ones where it was the Truth and also the Truth-tooled verdicts, which is a whole nother conversation, is the Truth-tooled verdict. But on the bottom of the disc, you have the embossing. And on most discs anymore, it's what Derek said. It has the DD logo. It says www.dynamicdiscs.com. And underneath it, it says Made in Sweden. Well, pre-Made in Sweden means those discs were made before the Made in Sweden section was embossed on the bottom. And because the Truth-tooled verdicts were in 2013 were for AM Worlds that year, that's our best guess of when's the last time they used it. Depending on how early discs were made ahead of time, things like that could dictate, but from our research, from our collection, those 8 molds ultimately are the ones that have no pre-made in Sweden listed underneath it. Now within those molds, not every plastic combination in those molds have the made in Sweden or don't have the made in Sweden. It all just depends on when the plastic, like some don't have, some of the biofusions don't have it listed there because they came out later.
Right.
Some of them are just the first runs. Like the Renegades, the best that we can find, the first run Renegades, Lucids have them. And we have found some Fuzion Dyemax ones that have it. But we haven't physically seen any Fuzion stock ones. Now again, I'm going to post all of these details in our description. If you know something or you have, say, a Fuzion Renegade with a stock stamp, let me know. Look, because I'm going to document it so in the future, any of you guys watching this, if you want to know which discs, especially if you're looking for that older run, that's what will tell you.
Something I see commonly on the fan page and stuff is people asking, well, if it's pre-made in Sweden, where was the disc made before it was made in Sweden? And they think that pre-made in Sweden means it was previously made somewhere else. And that's not the case. The discs have always been made in Sweden. Yeah. The only difference is now the discs say that they're made in Sweden. On the disc, it'll say made in Sweden. So the disc has always been made in Sweden. There's some confusion there. And a lot of people that hear the term, they don't understand. I've had people say, why does it matter if it was pre-made in Sweden? Well, it much like a digital weight, or a lot of people look for sticker weights, I think it's just that it gives the age of the disc, it gives the run of the discs. Over time, molds do wear down. The more they're used and things, the discs sometimes will tend to change stability or things like that. And so early on, if somebody might fall in love with this particular run of how a disc flies. Maybe they've been throwing the Judge since 2013 or whatever. And so an older Judge is, in their mind, flies and putts just a little bit different than a 2018 Judge would or a 2019 Judge would.
A really popular one is the Truth. And because the Truth, when it was the pre-made in Sweden and it was those early runs, were closer to what the EMAC Truth is now. So when the first Truth came out, before the mold itself wore out, when it was designed with its original flight, and people liked it, which is again why we ultimately created the EMAC Truth, to replicate what the Truth was supposed to be, and it was in its early stages, because as it got older, it started to become a little less stable based on the wear of that mold. So people look for those pre-made in Sweden Truths because they know that flight characteristic. Where if you're looking at just a traditional Truth and it says made in Sweden, you don't know which run it is and at what level of that mold being wore, it's going to affect your disc. But one that does not have the made in Sweden on the bottom, is an early run. Is that more straighter to slightly more fade run of Truth. I just counted, and what we've documented so far is there's actually 22 different variations of discs that do not have the made in Sweden on the bottom. I mean, different Judge. I mean, those are out of those 8 molds. Those are all the different plastic concoctions of Lucid, Fuzion, Bio, Soft, Plastic.
That was just a quick.
Yeah, and that was just brainstorming off our head before we started. We're going to keep working on that to put a more accurate details. Again, I'll put all those details in the description, update that as I need to. And I'm also going to create a video that is going to be specific to just this, but it's actually going to have the legitimate answers from Jeremy Ruskell himself on the reason why is. But like Derek had said, as far as we know, it has to do with the imports. Some of the stuff that I had heard is when discs come in through customs, when they didn't have where they were located from, it held that up in customs. There was research or things that they had to do before they could release it, but by putting made in Sweden in it, they know the location, they know where it's from, and whatever that does is speeds up that portion of customs.
I do want to kind of clarify, because as we ran through the molds, when we say the truth tooled verdict, the truth tooled verdict is, I believe, the only verdict that actually says dynamicdisc.com and does not say made in Sweden. Once it actually became tooled as the verdict, I believe that change was made. So I don't think you're going to find any actual verdict tooled discs that don't say made in Sweden.
So, all right. Anything else we want to touch on this subject?
I don't think so. Hopefully that clears it up a little bit for some people that don't understand.
Yep. Hope that covers everything. Again, if you know something we don't, you have some information on molds that aren't in this list that are in the description, feel free. Message me, comment. let me know. But otherwise, if you like what we're doing, as always, like our Facebook page, like our YouTube channel, subscribe, click the bell notification so you catch all these updates, because now they're going to be smaller, they're going to come out a little bit more often. But until next time, keep spreading the Trilogy love with the world. See ya.